Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all. This movie is a horror film from the USA, English language, released in the year 2001, directed by Dan Mintz, and this film was called Cookers. So Cookers is about two drug addicts, they're a couple, and they have stolen a lot of drugs from a drug dealer and they're going on the run. So they seek refuge in an abandoned mansion in the middle of nowhere, and their idea is that they're going to cook these drugs, sell them and live happily ever after. But unfortunately, complications arise when they start using the drugs that they're actually cooking. Very strange occurrences start to happen inside this mansion, and they don't know whether or not there is a ghost in here or in fact it's a result of the excessive drug use. And so what it is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Cookers. This is a very, very micro-budget horror film, and so for that you do have to come into these experiences with a lot of skepticism and a lot of hesitation. But the reason why I wanted to watch this movie is that I really like the idea of the synopsis. Is this a movie about the paranoia of drugs, or in fact is it a paranormal film? And so drawing your own conclusions can actually be very entertaining, and so that was the draw card for this movie. I really like the synopsis and I was wondering what Dan Mintz would produce, but the skepticism is that a lot of these directors don't know their limitations, and if you don't know your limitations, you try something that's way too ambitious and it just comes across as very cheap and you just can't really get into it. So I saw this in a second-hand DVD shop here in Australia. It was only about $2, so I really wasn't risking anything, and I was hoping that this was going to be worthwhile. And after watching Cookers, I will say that although it does have its problems, this is one of the rare occasions where a micro-budget horror filmmaker knows his limitations and really takes you on a ride in a very psychological manner. This is a movie that does have very limited special effects, it does have very limited gore. It's a movie that's definitely trying to get you into the mind of two very troubled people. And the very low budget creates an atmosphere that's very grimy and dirty and actually makes you feel as though you're in the gutter with these people. And as the situation starts to spiral, you can sense that paranoia that's starting to creep into their mind. Is this haunted, or in fact is this the side effect of the drugs? And so that grey matter is really making you feel very vulnerable, and you don't know really where to turn to. Are they actually in danger, or in fact is it, as I said, the drugs that are playing? And the people that are chasing this couple, are they on their tail, or again is it all about the paranoia? So it's a whirlwind of emotions that really plays with the viewer in a way that I really wasn't expecting. I was expecting a movie that was going to try a lot of gore effects, a lot of ghosts, CGI, and it was just going to come across as a complete mess. But this is a movie that does steer clear of that for the most part, and really focuses on the intensity as far as the atmosphere is concerned. So you have the actors that I thought did a fairly decent job. This is a very minimalistic film, have very minimal characters, a minimal setting, and so it's going to be very easy to be very boring if it wasn't well written and it wasn't well acted as far as the actors are concerned. But I will say that as far as the script is concerned, the script allows these characters to blossom in a way that was somewhat interesting, and I thought the actors did a somewhat decent job. There were moments that were a little bit iffy, but as far as a micro-budget horror film is concerned, with not a lot behind it, I actually felt as though this is one of the better ones. So this is a very disturbing film. It has a lot of excessive drug use, and so if you are offended by that sort of thing, steer clear. But then again, when you see the trailer and you see the synopsis, it's exactly what you're getting yourself into. You know that this is going to be a drug film, so you know it's going to focus on those drugs. But I felt as though the drug use in this movie was very important in playing that devastating sort of psychological role that does leave a lot of curiosity up there. It actually makes you feel that sense of vulnerability because you don't know what's real and what's not. And so for the most part, that really plays very well. And so the overall psychological aspect of this movie was the most impressive, and the fact that this director knew exactly his limitations allows you to get inside the world that he's trying to create and doesn't really let up from start to finish. If I have issues with this movie, some of the acting here and there was a little bit iffy, some of the script was a little bit exaggerated, and I felt as though some of the special effects as far as the visuals are concerned were a little bit off here and there, but thankfully it doesn't really dwell on those shortcomings. I felt as though there was enough positive qualities in this movie to warrant it at least one-time viewing. It's nothing that's going to blow you away. I thought as though by the halfway stage it was starting to get a little bit tiresome. But it goes for 90 odd minutes and it doesn't really outstay its welcome, which is something that I can't say for a lot of micro-budget horror films. And so it knows exactly what it wants to do, and for the most part it executes those plans very well. If you want a movie that's about psychological torment and characters that are starting to unfold before your very eyes, then I would definitely recommend this movie. If you're after gore, if you're after explosions, then this is a movie that's not for you. What I was really impressed about was the fact that it took on that psychological effort, and in order to execute execute that psychological tension that the movie has. It really needed a very good script and the emphasis on the acting, because as I said, it's very minimalistic, and I thought as though for the most part Dan Mintz really pulled it off. And so if it sounds like your kind of thing, I would say go out there and see it. I thought the ending really makes you think about what this movie was all about, and so that was a very good thing. And so for micro budget horror filmmaking, Cookers is definitely one of the better ones, and I would definitely say go out there and see it. And so yes, it does have its problems, but fortunately there's enough positive to make it worth it. I recommend it. I'm going to give Cookers 2.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next, like your G movies, and I'll see you later.